Hello, welcome to the SmartPip.com pre-European market review. My name is Christian Stevens, also known as FX Chris. Today is Thursday, February 16th, 2012. This is a review of some of what we did in the live pre-European class today at SmartPip.com. Let me remind you that the purpose of this video is education. We are not an alert service. I will not make any direct trade recommendations during the course of a session, although we will plan in detail for several setups daily together in class. Please be mindful that trading under leverage is always risky business. Occasionally, as a novice trader, using excessive leverage will work for you. Unfortunately, more times than not, it will work against you. So please do not trade real money until you have a proven track record of success on a free broker demonstration account. Also, remember that past performance does not predict future results. Do not trade money you can't afford to lose. Before we get started, whether you're watching this video on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or our blog at smartpip.com, I'd like to ask that you please leave a comment when you're done watching, even if you just say hi or thanks. I appreciate any feedback from you at all. Well, today was an interesting setup to be starting at because we've had quite a run down on the euro lately. I mean, more or less, I think most of us are sort of expecting what we see here. I mean, let's pull this up. This is the euro dollar I'm looking at. And this is a weekly chart, okay? And the idea that this pullback was into this zone was going to be challenged right around this fib zone. I think most people, including myself, expected, okay? So it's a 3 to 50%. Yeah, but EMA there. And this is to be expected. Stokes cycle is almost complete. But where you see the alarms here, this is a key area right around 130. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of expecting that somewhere in here it's going to get challenged from a fib the other way. Okay, and then we're going to find out what's what, right? Well, we're either going to do this and then fall or go up to the next notch before falling probably next week. Either way, that's irrelevant. The drop this week has been all about getting back down to that level. So that's where we found ourselves starting today at. And if I go to the euro dollar here, we had made this drop. It's hard to put together a plan which essentially is almost at where you want it to be. Here's a daily chart on the euro, and this is the fib the other way I was talking about. This was our target on the euro dollar all this week, okay, and right around this 129.70 area, 50% fib role reversal. And it correlates with the USD index because just as you're approaching this 50% fib, if you look at here, let's pull this over. This is a weekly US index chart. I'm sure you can probably see this area right here. Ish is a role reversing area of resistance going the other way after a little double bottom on support. This is where you would expect to see probably at least a pullback. Remember, the Stokes cycle is completing here as well. Before maybe it does this or it comes to the next notch before going up. Either way, though, this looks like it's resistance at the same time that the euro dollar is at support. And the euro dollar makes up, I don't know the exact number here, changes from time to time, but it's more or less 60-65%, I think, of the USD index, so it stands to reason that they should be rather comfortably correlated. Yeah, and actually that was a daily chart I showed you, not a weekly. I apologize. The weekly chart, though, you can see similar things if I pull that up. This is coming back to an area of resistance as well, and everything's pretty much the same. I don't know why I said weekly. So more or less, we find ourselves at resistance on the index, support on the euro, or close, okay? We were sitting right around 130.20 when pre-London came in. New York took us down the rest of the way. Yesterday's London trade together, we caught the lower high and we made 100 pips. It's just been about 3 different 100 pip swings this week. If you look at an hourly chart, you can see it's just been one short after another in London, okay? It's just been boom, or another 100 pips, and then another 100 pips, and then we faded off from after FOMC yesterday. We just kind of faded into the remainder of the target. Anyway, where we sat today, you can probably see with the alarms in the circles, this is where we sat at the beginning of the day. So, well, I guess I can leave the whole thing over. Obviously, as I'm making this video, we've already touched 129.80 zone, but we hadn't at that time, okay? We had only sort of been right in here. And the question was, were we going to kick down and then up, or were we going to kick up and then down? And, who knows, right? So that was the way I was looking at things. I saw the daily 5 EMA. We were quite a bit from that, and that's something I like to use quite often. And usually it'll pull back a little bit closer to that, but we were also off the support. So we weren't at a place that I want to buy it, but we weren't necessarily at a place that I wanted to short it either. And that's the dilemma, isn't it? So the idea was, oh, whoop, I didn't mean to go back here, that more or less, when this is all said and done, I do expect that this is probably going to pull back to 131 zone today at some point. But we're not at support to buy it yet. I don't think we can expect that that's going to happen in London. That's the 4-hour fib, right? Then there's the hourly, this last major swing since yesterday's on the right, the hourly, the idea of coming back up to the 30-50 roll reversal zone, which would be a swing fib, seemed really like the type of trade that we could sink our teeth into tonight, okay? And this is a 4-hour. This is what it was looking like at the time, riding the 5 there. But we were also riding on the hourly, right at the S1 daily pivot point. So here we are. All that stuff I just told you is the setup for where we began. This is 0500 GMT, so we start our class at 0600 GMT, 1 o'clock Eastern time, an hour before the Frankfurt Open. Here we are sitting at a double bottom S1, and our support is underneath of us. And the first logical place that really stands out is this roll reversing sort of fib zone of the last swing around 40, maybe the high 30s. Point is, it's sitting in the middle, right? Not a whole lot we can do. So we planned, as you can see, based on our alarms, we planned a short here or a long here. We just didn't know which one was going to happen first. And beyond that, after that, I think it'll go back up to at least the hourly 21. So that being said, we were, going into our session. And it gets up to about 120, 130.30, but then it breaks down to 130. So here we are before Frankfurt, before the money flow comes in, and we've already not quite hit support, but definitely not hit resistance, and we sit there and wait and wait and wait. We're still waiting for 40. And here's what happens, okay? Right when we get to the London Open, we don't get to 40, but this is what I want to focus on. Right at the London Open, when the market's opening, notice that is actually a lower high, briefly, of that. And this is where a short-term chart can come in handy. Okay, so if I pull down a 3-minute chart and I go back to 3 a.m., which is, what's that, 0800, excuse me, GMT, I'll just maximize this chart. This is what you've got, okay? This is a failed higher high right at London Open right here. So the new money's coming in, and it's saying, no, I don't want to make a higher high. Okay? So, there, I'll just put this line here. And remember, we haven't really quite hit support yet, but we're a hell of a lot closer to resistance than support. So the idea that right when that's starting to happen, that London's opening, taking a little shot right here, at the same time, we had our index looking the same, we had the pound dollar looking the same, and we had the Aussie dollar looking the same. So we were well correlated in that regard, and putting a stop just basically not far above here, risking about 10, 12, maybe 15 pips. Where's the target? About 129.70, which, that's not a lot of pips, but it could be a 50, maybe 60 pip trade. But it's going to get violent down there at that point and probably flip back. So this is basically a London scalp attempt. So, that was one of the trades we took. Now, it didn't turn out to be a massive trade. It gets down to about 80. What you did after that was up to you, and you could see it goofed around, and here's where we are now at 130. But this was one of the trades we took today at SmartPip.com. Just a little bit of a scalp. This is probably one of the smaller trades you'll see us do a video on, but you can only trade what's offered to you. And by the way, we look like we're now going to try to make that last push, so maybe we'll be sitting at support at New York Open. That would be interesting. So that was a 35 pip trade, and one more I'll just quickly show you. By the way, that did come into the M1 reversal pivot point here, and you have sort of a double M1 sandwich going on. Here's your weekly M1 reversal pivot point right at what is that, 129.65. And your daily is at 129.81. I mean, there's a lot of overlap here, and overlap is pretty much, at least for me, one of the most important things in trading. I don't want to contest that, but it really is sort of a challenge when you're trying to thread the needle like this. So, we have a 15-minute higher low. You can see the steady series of lower highs. We're jammed up. We're probably going to jump about 30 pips one way or the other here in just a few minutes. And what time is it? 6 o'clock. So as New York money comes in about an hour and a half, we should have something to work with. Now on the just let me show you real quick. Um, oh, sorry, I meant to change it to Aussie dollar. Okay. The Aussie did get closer to our plan. Our plan on the Aussie dollar was similar but different at the same time. We wanted our plan, as you can see here, this is 12:45. So our plan was to short right around, as you can see the alarm, the 50% fib zone here, and take that down to the next level. And if you look here on an hourly 4-hour chart, possibly as low as 106.25 or so, but we do have role reversal right here, right around 106.50 zone. Okay, so the idea was to maybe capture these pips. Again, we didn't have a lot to work with today, so that was the plan. And as you can see, and you think it hit our alarm, don't you? You really do. Now, if you go in and you take a close look at that alarm, you'll notice, it. If I zoom in here, you had to watch for this. This is a classic thing that happens to me all the time. Look at this. 106.97 and 106.98. 2 fractional pips away from my frickin' alarm. This is why you have multiple monitors. To pay attention to everything, and other people in the room remind you, oh, hey, our plan is about to hit. So this was another one of our trades. I happened to take this pound and euro. I mean, you don't have to take them all. It was a sort of a scalpy sort of behavior, and that was another 40 pips. So, between those two trades, 70 pips or so. Not massive, but hey, you can make a living out of that, right? So if you like to do these sorts of trades on a regular basis, we put together, this is our first video at SmartPip.com. We do pre-European trade planning and analysis and setups. But when it comes to the live market, once we wrap it up just a few minutes after the London Open, and then we trade our own decision. So I hope to see you there at SmartPip.com. If you'd like to see some more, there's a few free clips usually on the website if you'd like to view some more. If you're a member there, it's 2 hours a day of pre-European class, 0600 to 0800 GMT, which is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern. We'd love to have you there. We also have a forum and a blog at smartpip.com, and we have recasts available so you can watch these videos over and over. Guys, have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you again. Cheers.